Many thanks for joining us. William Sila is our sign language interpreter. Tonight, I'm Linda Ogutu.
And I'm Ben Kitili. Another standoff has erupted at the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital, the second largest national referral health facility in the country. A new Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Joseph Sitine, has reported to work, even as Dr. John Kibosia insisted he was still in charge as MTRH CEO. KTN's Associate Editor Nawatiana begins our coverage tonight with a new twist.
I've been deployed here from the ministry as an acting CEO.
Dr. Joseph Sitine, who apparently was recently appointed as the new director at the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital to replace Dr. John Kibosia, reported to work and started familiarizing himself with the health facility. However, the man who has been in charge at MTRH, Dr. John Kibosia, in a text message to The Standard, insisted that he was still the boss at the hospital that serves parts of the country and East and Central Africa. The man who is to be the new boss thinks otherwise.
And I'm here to execute that mandate as an acting CEO until the ministry determines the next course of action.
The Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital is still in the throes of a scandal stemming from a standoff over a 28 billion shilling expansion project. In the new CEO's appointment letter dated 17th June 2015 and signed by the Health Cabinet Secretary Dr. James Macharia, Dr. Sitine was instructed to report to work effective the date of the letter.
I've not been handed over because the CEO at the moment is out of town, and I believe he'll be coming any time now, hopefully to start preparing to hand over. So I'm waiting for that. But as according to the letter that posted me here, I'm supposed to be the acting CEO from yesterday. And that is why I'm in the hospital at this time.
But speaking to The Standard on phone, the Health Cabinet Secretary, Dr. James Macharia, said that Dr. John Kibosia's term ends on the 15th of December this year. It is not clear where the new appointment leaves Dr. Kibosia now, since the Cabinet Secretary insisted that there is no change of guard yet at the MTRH. The embattled CEO, Dr. Kibosia, insisted that the appointment was unprocedural and that even the MTRH board was not aware. He says he has been assured by the Cabinet Secretary that he will serve his full term till December. He believes the other appointment has been cancelled. Now, KTN Prime.
You're watching KTN Prime and we thank you for staying with us. Let's now focus on the tourism industry. This is an industry that has had the last couple of tough months, I may say. Kitili, do you have relatives who work in the tourism industry?
Yes, a good chunk of my relatives live at the coast. So many of them work in the tourism sector, and it has been really hard, like from first-hand experience from them.
Okay, I've been to the coast. I've visited a few hotels in the last couple of months. And trust me, it has not been good. But now that could change. This is what's going on. The British government has lifted the travel advisories in Mombasa County, Kilifi County, and Kwale County. Remember, this advisory was given last year after a series of attacks at the coastal region. That advisory affected the tourism industry, the hospitality industry. Remember, this is an industry that puts food on the table of so many Kenyans. Thousands, millions to be specific. And I was speaking to our business reporters, and they were giving me some figures. They said in 2013, the tourism industry brought in, I think, 94 billion shillings. And in 2014, it brought in 87 billion shillings. So here's the thing. Now that Britain has lifted the travel advisory, it is hoped that this is a new beginning, so to speak, for the men and women who work in this industry. A statement posted on the Foreign Commonwealth Office said, they said the Foreign and Commonwealth Office no longer advise against all but essential travel to Mombasa. So question is this a tourism boost? This now essentially means that British tourists can visit Mombasa, Ukunda, Kilifi, Watamu, and surrounding areas. Remember, some of the best tourist hotels are in this particular region. These regions were initially labeled as high risks, and let's see now how this will play out in the coming months or so, especially for the industry and for the people who live in the coastal region. However, it's not all clear. It's not all green light in that travel advisory. There are certain areas that are still in the red, if I may say. The British government says it advises all but essential travel to areas within 60 kilometers of the Kenya-Somali border, the entire Garissa County, Isili in Nairobi, the entire Lamu County, areas of Tana River County, north of Tana River, within 15 kilometers from the coast in Tana River County. So let's see how this plays out in the coming months. Will this change the face of tourism in the country? Will this change the face of the hospitality industry in the country? We are hopeful.
Indeed, Linda. And that is the basis of a big question discussion tonight. We are asking you, do you think the lifting of the travel advisories will help improve the tourism industry?
Let us know what you think. You can tweet us at KTN Kenya, at Ben_Kitili, and of course at Linda Gutu. We'd love to sample your thoughts on that.
Now, in other news, detectives, including cybercrime experts, are trying to establish how criminals managed to hack into the National Youth Service system and committed 826 million shillings to private companies. Devolution Secretary Anne Waiguru, however, says money was not lost as the attempted fraud was discovered in good time before payments were made. KTN's Rita Tinina now reports.
With an expanded mandate which has seen an increase in the number of servicemen and women by more than 20,000, the National Youth Service has allocated billions of shillings to execute its mandate. In the current financial year, 17 billion shillings was set aside for the NYS. But some have been eyeing the money in unscrupulous ways.
So somebody got into the system, who now we're trying to investigate who it is, and made very many commitments of similar transactions.
The commitments amounting to 826 million shillings were made at night, raising the first red flag that prompted the ministry to call for investigations.
I am the one who wrote to the CID asking them to investigate transactions that had been reported in the IFMIS as being suspect.
Investigators, including cybercrime experts, are trying to establish, among other things, whose password was used to log into the system.
It's possible that it's external, but it's also possible that it is internal. So we don't want to speculate until the CID gives us the information.
The Cabinet Secretary, however, says that the attempted fraud was discovered before it was too late.
From the said transactions, no money had been lost, as we nipped the activities in the bud and were able to stop it before we lost any money.
At a press conference, Waiguru dismissed claims of a rift between her and the NYS Director General, Dr. Nelson Githinji.
We have a very, very close functional working relationship.
The Cabinet Secretary also defended the appointment of Adan Gedo Harake as the NYS Senior Deputy Director General, saying it was done in accordance with public service procedures. Rita Tinina, KTN.
Let's now focus on a disturbing story. Questions are being asked about a group of construction workers in Nairobi who apparently knew but kept quiet about the death of a small girl at the site where they were working. The small girl's body lay in a pit at the construction site for 3 months before the parents found her.
Jovial, beautiful, playful, smart, and most of all the light of the home is just simply how the parents of 5-year-old Jemima Muthoni remember her. But even as she was laid to rest, they were more jovial than sad to finally know that their daughter was at a better place, according to them. You see, for days, they spent sleepless nights trying to unravel the mysterious disappearance of their child. One Sunday afternoon, just after attending a church service, Jemima would join her peers alongside her elder brother to play by the streets of Pipeline Estate. An unidentified man ordered her brother to walk away from her, and that was the last time they ever saw her. By the time Standard newspaper writer James Wanzala met the family, it had been 3 months since her disappearance. From their small income, they had spent at least 500 shillings placing announcements on Jemima's disappearance on a local radio station. Occasionally, the hopes would be lifted up by unknown callers who even demanded for airtime to provide details that would help them trace Jemima. But that was just it, false hope and conmen. Word, however, went round that a child had fallen into a hole in a building under construction. Rebecca Waithera, the mother, would immediately walk to the building and demand answers over the claims.
Alisema kuna mtoto alitupwa na waliambiwa wasiseme. Nona. anaenda kumhoji, niwaambie. Nikakuwa mkali mara moja, nikaambia fundi, kuja nionyeshe hii shimo mara moja. Fundi akakuja, akanifunulia hivi. Nikaangalia hivi, nikamuuliza fundi, wapi mtoto mwenye unaniambia? Akaniuliza, huoni mtoto? Nikamwambia mimi sioni mtoto. Akaniambia mtoto ameanzia hapa mpaka pale. Mimi nakuwa na kijiti mti ya hospitali. Nikaingiza ndani ya shimo, nikavuruta ule mtoto.
Not only did the Masons not deny, but also pointed her to the hole the child had fallen into. She was then prompted to use a stick to search through the sewer in the hole, and she finally found her child in the same clothes she had on the last day. More disturbing for the family is that Jemima's body had decomposed almost beyond recognition and some of her body parts missing.
Siwezi sema ati ni mtu alimtupa ama niseme ni mtu ni yeye alienda akaaguka. Sema labda uchunguzi tu ufanye na ukweli uonekane.
And even though they had buried their daughter, weighty questions have clouded their minds. Was Jemima murdered, her body mutilated, then dumped? How was it that the Masons at the building knew her body was inside the hole and did not report to the police? And who exactly is the owner of the building whose construction has since stopped? Their countless trips to the police stations in Embakasi seem to have hit dead ends. And now, the family is left with a new mystery to solve. Ian Wafula, KTN.
How sad for that family in Pipeline. Now to Mombasa now, where the Kenya National Union of Teachers officials and their counterparts from KUPPET have opposed the criteria of using job evaluation as a way to determine salary increments for teachers. The officials argue that the evaluation is a political move to delay salary increment. KTN's Coast Region reporter John Juma has the details.
The officials from the two teachers' unions, NAT and KUPPET, are reading political mischief in the job evaluation plan for teachers as a way to determine their salary increments. They argue that the proposed evaluation is likely to take long and that will delay their increment.
Job evaluation, it has already been done extensively and effectively through the schemes of service by the Teachers Service Commission. Before moving out, they must engage us. We understand what they're after, because we believe very strongly job evaluation is being brought about to disrupt and slow down our demand for better salaries, wages and benefits for the teachers of this country. So we can't allow a process that we don't understand, rest assured, because we hear they are in the field and we have not been engaged.
What are you going to evaluate? Are you going to base your performance on the aspects of the output which is recognized by grade A or B? Are you considering the sizes of classes? Are you considering the quality of learners? Because this is different from evaluating the job of a banker, whereby somebody who is a clerk sitting behind a desk is working from 9 to 3 and is basically counting money, and maybe is considered with the amount of money.
They are still opposed to having another medical insurance scheme, saying taxing their pay twice will leave teachers with no money to cater for their basic needs.
Vile NHIF tayari ilikuwa imechukua pesa kutoa kwa payslip ya mwalimu, hatuwezi kuruhusu pia medical cover nyingine kama Iron Minet kuingilia ile payslip. Zote zitachukua taslim pesa zaidi ya 4,700 kwa payslip ya mwalimu. Na waambieni walimu wanapata senti chini ya 2,000 wengine. Hiyo ikitendeka tutakuwa na vita staff room. Walimu hawataweza kulipa loan zao, kwa hivyo hawataenda shuleni, na Teacher Service Commission ambayo inadanganya inataka medical cover itafuta hao walimu.
Under the 6 billion shillings comprehensive medical scheme, teachers were to lose their monthly medical allowance of between 767 and 4,412 shillings and the money sent to the insurer for the medical cover. The matter is still in court after the High Court nullified deductions from the teachers. And while education in the northeastern Kenya is in the verge of collapsing after almost 600 secondary school teachers refuse to return back to their schools to teach due to insecurity, NAT Secretary General Wilson Sosion added salt into the wound.
The security of teachers in this country, we shall never ever compromise as a union, and nobody should lecture to us. We should stand for our teachers. Any teacher who feels insecure, wherever, should walk out of insecure areas because life is precious.
A statement which hasn't gone down well with secondary school heads in that region.
While Mr. Sosion is agitating for the rights of the teachers, he has never mentioned about the plight of the hundreds of thousands of children who are in school.
Sehemu moja ya Kenya haiwezi kuwa hakuna masomo na sehemu nyingine kuna masomo. Kwa hivyo tunatarajia serikali itachukua hatua madhubuti.
John Juma, KTN Prime, Mombasa.
A 27-year-old mother in Kapenguria is calling for help from well-wishers after giving birth to triplets.
Now, the woman says she already has 3 other children and is therefore unable to raise 6 children as she has no source of livelihood.
Fatma Pole has that story.
Is considered a blessing. One will expect, therefore, that 3 babies should equal 3 times the blessings. But this is not the case for 27-year-old Rebecca Chemtai. Chemtai, a resident of Kanyarkwat village in West Pokot County, is not as happy as she should be after giving birth to triplets. Chemtai gave birth to 3 bouncing babies, 2 boys and a girl, through normal delivery at the Kapenguria hospital.
Mngeweza kunisaidia chakula, mnisaidia hata penye hata hao watoto watalala. Nyumba yenye naishi inanyesha. Penye nakaa kishida.
Wishers would like to help the family and the children should come forward so that we move away from the traditional practice that 3 children may be a curse.
She already had 3 other children before the triplets. Chemtai says she does not know the fate of her children.
Kwa kwanza nilijifungua akafa. Nikarudia wa pili akakuwa mmoja. Wa tatu wakakuwa ni mapacha. Hawa wa 4 ni mapacha.
This considering that the cases of malnutrition in West Pokot County are as high as 43.5%, the majority of those affected being young children below the age of 5. Fatma Pole, KTN.
So the British government has lifted advisories to Mombasa County, Kilifi and Kwale counties, and that forms the basis of our big question tonight. And we're asking you if you think the lifting of the advisories will improve tourism in the country.
Master Kego on Twitter says yes, of course, because Britain has been the biggest tourism market in Kenya.
Joshua Makori says a big boost for tourism in the country. Many that felt insecure can now freely move in.
Today being Thursday, it is time for Daring Abroad. Tonight, the dispatch is from Ghana, formerly known as the Gold Coast, where Kenyans have also dared invest.
Our special correspondent Alex Chamwada brings us the story of Caroline Achieng, who makes a living from selling shoes in Accra City. Take a look.
Welcome to Accra, the capital city of Ghana. The word for welcome here is Akwaba.
Karibu, this is...
We meet Caroline Ocheng, who decided that selling shoes was what would make her tick, so to speak, in this foreign land.
Karibu.
She has been here for 6 years now. She owns 5 butter shoe shops.
What I want is black, not brown.
This is not brown.
Not black.
This is navy.
Yeah.
Caroline is married to Lak Ocheng, who is the sales director of Guinness Ghana. They have 3 children, a boy and 2 twin girls.
This whole move to Ghana began when my husband was sent here to come and start up a business. I was at that time working for East African breweries, and they asked that since they could second me for the length of time my husband was going to be in Ghana, to Guinness Ghana, who is a sister company. So I came here, worked for Guinness Ghana for a year, slightly over a year and a few months, and then decided that between my husband and I that I was going to take a break from the corporate world, take care of the children and him, and also start a small biashara on the side.
The first step, she says, was market research, with her training in marketing coming in handy.
We started looking for franchising for butter. There was nothing. So I got their Switzerland office and wrote to them, and it took a very long time to get back. So calling, writing, and about 6 months down the line, somebody wrote to me and referred me to the Singapore office. The Singapore office had a franchising then for Asia, but they had never done franchising in Africa. They knew the Ghanaian market. Butter used to be here about 30 years ago, and they closed up when this whole nationalization, when there was a change of regime and things didn't work out. And when they came in, they were coming to see different people, plus us.
Then came the moment to present the idea.
And in about 4 months, the deal was concluded. So they chose us as opposed to the others who are much more financially stable and people who've been in this market for a long time.
For a startup to take off, capital is very crucial, and one may ask, so how did Caroline go about funding for such a huge investment?
No bank here would touch us because we didn't have collateral, we didn't own a house, we didn't own anything. You need to go and give your house for you to get the finances. So we went back home. We used our house as the collateral and got a loan of almost 20 million Kenyan shillings from Standard Chartered.
The fees for business permits as well as work permits depends on the size of the investment.
For you to start a business in Ghana, you have to bring in $300,000, the startup capital, and it has to come from outside. The stock you bring, anything you bring in for the business can be counted as part of the capital. Now for Ghana, there's a Ghana Investment Board. It's very clear, 300,000, that's a startup capital. Then they will give you, if you want 2 work permits for foreigners or whoever you need that's not a non-Ghanaian to work. But if you want more than that, you have to invest more. So it goes going up. If you need for 4 people, you need 450. If you need for more, $600,000.
But is it all rosy for Caroline? Is the business worth her energy?
Everything here is almost double the price because by the time you land in your goods, you paid double that price. Business has been challenging for 2 reasons. Number one, the economy in Ghana has been going through a recession. The last 2 years, the CD has been free falling against the dollar. But I can say we are breaking even. I know things are going to look up. So I'm in here for the long haul.
In total, she has 60 employees, out of which 2 are Kenyans.
Now, since we began, we were the only formal retail store. But now, since we came, the American Payless Shoes is a chain, America, huge chain, are in. South Africa, the Jet Group, the owners of Edgar's are here, and they do a big footwear. So the competition is stiff. But I believe there's room for everybody. Most of the stock here is Singapore, Malaysia, South Africa, and a little bit of Kenya on the ngomas and the pata. We ship out of South Africa because that's where we consolidate. But most of the stock now, we go for our buying meetings in Singapore 4 times a year.
Why Singapore? Why not?
Because Singapore had a franchising before. They have a very good way of running the franchising. So the Asia countries, Thailand, Vietnam, Myanmar, all come there. And so Africa was added. I was the first franchise for Africa. Kenya doesn't come. Kenya is a company. So they don't do franchising. This is a meeting for franchisees.
And who are Caroline's clients?
Everybody. Butter is a family store. Although my butter here is slightly different concept from Kenya, I'm more high-end because my clients like high-end things. West Africans generally prefer very fashionable, very flashy things. So that's why I even buy from Singapore.
Now on to Caroline's family background.
I'm from the east side of the country. So when you hear Ocheng, everybody always assumes that I am actually from the west side. But I'm a Kamba, married to a Luo from Seme, so I'm Nyaseme. My husband is actually my rock. He's always the brain, he's always a strategist. I am the doer.
Before moving to Guinness, Ghana, Caroline's husband worked for mobile phone company Zain, which later became Airtel.
He was actually the Sales and Distribution Director for Africa for Airtel Anglophone. So when he was sent here, he's the one who came to start up the business in Ghana.
So they live miles and miles away from their homeland. But they say, east or west, family responsibilities back home will always come knocking.
I'm a firstborn of 9 children. Additionally, we have extended family who you never quite get yourself out of. We are Africans. You can't be here having money and your cousin is not going to school.
And you'll be surprised to hear that one of the 2 Kenyans Caroline has employed is her former house help in Kenya, Cecilia, who transformed herself to become a manager in one of Caroline's stores in Accra.
She taught herself how to laptop. She bought herself one. She's amazing. And she has 2 daughters. She's a single mother. She didn't have land because she's an only girl in a family of many boys. So traditionally, the girls are not given any land by their father. So she's been able to get something to take care of her children. She's taken her children to school.
And that's daring abroad.
This is KTN Business. I'm Joy Doreen Bira. Centum's 5-year bond has been oversubscribed by 38%, attracting bids worth 8.31 billion against a target of 6 billion shillings, which the firm says is a show of confidence in Centum's growth strategy. The bond is made up of a fixed rate component offering a yield of 13% per year, an equity-linked portion with a yield of 12.5% per annum, and a variable component which will be based on the growth of the company's net asset value. The equity-linked note received demand worth 3.48 billion shillings, which Centum said demonstrated the market's depth, increased sophistication and appetite for innovative products. Proceeds from the bond will be used to finance Centum's ambitious strategic plan that focuses on the education, health, energy, financial services, fast-moving consumer goods, ICT and real estate sectors. And in more news, Kenya's tourism sector continues to take a beating by low tourist numbers, but that has not deterred players from investing in the sector. Lake Magadi Adventures, a young upstart in the industry, is seeking to breathe a new lease of life into the salt flats in an effort to diversify tourism products in the country. And as Philip Kitani reports, the move could hold the key to introducing new tourism products to spur both local and international tourism.
It's been close to 3 years now since the Kenyan tourism sector lost its magical appeal to international tourists. But the beauty of the Kenyan landscape and the resilience of the tourism players has kept the sector from slipping into total collapse. For some industry players, the slump has given an opportunity to rediscover new attraction sites. Take the Magadi Salt Flats, for example. For years, the area has not been viewed as a tourist attraction, save for a few who dare to venture to take scenic photos of the area. For Lake Magadi Adventures, the timing is all but right to introducing something new to the Kenyan tourism sector.
It is an innovative way of being able to boost Kenya's tourism and also be able to add on a new wing onto the conventional circuits of tourism in Kenya.
Part of the package is the introduction of a safari train ride through the scenic Rift Valley from Kajiado town that stands at 1,600 meters above sea level to the shores of Lake Magadi that sits at 600 meters above sea level. The train ride from Kajiado to Lake Magadi has just come to an end. Let's now see what Lake Magadi has to offer. On offer is a tour of the hot springs with the talks of introducing an hot-air balloon ride to the area for tourists to capture the scenic views.
Sitting in, I didn't go fully in the hot springs, but sitting on the edge with my legs in the nice warm water as the sun set, it was kind of magical.
I would advise anyone who likes to travel, who hasn't traveled, try this place. It's just beautiful.
I really want to come here again and basically to support the Magadi community and Kenya tourism. I'm number one fan.
Rather than build brick and mortar for accommodation, the investor uses tented camps, further giving a scene of being in touch with nature. The area boasts of wildlife such as zebras, gazelle, buffaloes and elephants, with a beautiful carpet of pink flamingo littered across the salty lake. The train ride, the hot springs and this amazing view is what Lake Magadi is hoping will be the clincher that will lure both local and international tourists to this destination. Philip Keitan, KTN, from Magadi, Kajiado County.
Thanks, Phil, for that story. Now, moving on, fresh from posting a 160% rise in after-tax profits, investment firm Centum is talking big about its upcoming projects. In an exclusive interview with KTN's Abi Agina, the firm reveals how they became the most profitable investment firm in the country and when it will be opening Centum's flagship Two Rivers Mall.
What has been driving growth for Centum, knowing that other companies are struggling to rake in such profits?
There's a lot of work, there's significant upfront investment, but if you stay the course and you deliver what investors are looking for, you stand the possibility of significant reward. It's about the future, not the past. And over the last 6 years, it's been repositioning the business to focus to be a key player in the sectors of the economy that will be key contributors of growth going forward.
Among the projects that you're looking at, one of them is Two Rivers, which is meant to be a mall that will have different features and it will be attracting serious brands into the Kenyan market. Tell us more about this.
We are on track from a construction point of view. We are looking to complete it towards the end of the year. From a letting point of view, we are doing very well. We're going to be bringing into this market international brands that have not been in the market before.
The other project that you are actually taking on is on the infrastructure front, where you're building a serious coal plant in Lamu, as well as another plant in Olkaria around Naivas. These two projects have been touted as one of the major game changers for Kenya's energy mix.
So a project like AMU, which is going to bring power at 7.8 US cents per kilowatt hour, the multiplier impact it's going to have in the economy is significant.
The recent report released by Bloomberg, which places Kenya as the third fastest growing economy, what does this mean for investment companies like Centum?
The outlook for Kenya is great. In February, Bloomberg ran a list of the top 20 fastest growing economies in the world. The only two economies ahead of us, China and Philippines. With these power projects, once in 2017 the standard gauge railway line is going to be up and running. There are additional roads that are being paved. The port is being expanded. That's going to unleash a wave of competitiveness and create huge opportunities for this country. And we are going to be a player in that. So I'm very bullish about the prospects of our country. I'm very bullish about the prospects of Centum.
Retail chain Naivas supermarket has announced that it will be opening 5 new branches this year as the firm scales up its expansion drive in efforts to increase its market share in Kenya's retail space. Naivas will open the first of the 5 branches in Githunguri next week and later another in Thika Town, with others scheduled for Mombasa. This will bring the number of its outlets across the country to 41, which would cement its 18% market share in the retail sector. The retailer, however, says there are no plans to reopen its Garissa branch, which was closed following the terrorist attack in the nearby university in April. Its expansion drive comes amid rising competition in the retail sector, with international brands like Game and others in the market.
We have seen at times someone might have very many numbers of stores, but they're not effective. It's to have strategic stores that actually bring in the bottom line. Yeah.
And so just how did the Kenya shilling fare today? Let's find out. that's it for KTN Business. My name is Joy Doreen Bira. Have a good night. But coming up next is Moses Wahisi with all the sporting action.
Sport Day, it has been a very good evening and welcome to today's edition of KTN Sports. My name is Moses Wahisi. Kenya head coach Mitch Chola has made a total of 10 changes to the side that started in last weekend's 2017 victory over Uganda Cranes, and that's ahead of the Elgon Cup return fixture in Kampala on Saturday. Kenya, the defending champions, will have a tight battle away in Uganda in their quest of retaining that trophy. Elgon Cup defending champions Kenya touched down 4 times for a slim 2017 win over Uganda Cranes in the first leg of the Elgon Cup, despite missing the first team members who are away in Zimbabwe for the Africa Cup qualifiers. The return leg will, however, be more crucial for Kenya A, a side that travels to Uganda after head coach Mitch Chola made a total of 10 changes. In the new lineup for Saturday's grudge match, prop Hilary Mwanjilwa, his Cabra's Sugar counterpart Duncan Mwangi, and KCB hooker Peter Karia will start in place of McLellan Shikuku, Francis Zakatu and George Asino. Charles Omondi, who touched down twice last week, will start from the bench. Davis Makori will partner Philip Owora at the lock. Felix Wanjala has been drafted into the starting lineup after missing out last weekend's action. Pan-African Strathmore Leos Kenny Andola will start at fly half as Ken Mosetti moved inside center with Brian Omondi dropping to the bench. Duncan Abuyeka and Ian Minjira replaces Isao Otieno and Alvin Otieno at fullback and wing respectively, while Sami Motari replaces William Mawira on the bench. The Uganda Cranes will be confident playing at home and they require 4 points to secure a win. Uganda Cranes, however, won Elgon Cup last in the year 2012. Double world and Olympic champion Mo Farah of Britain continues to battle doping suspicion. It is imagined that the king of 5,000 and 10,000 meters missed 2 important drug tests before going on and winning a double at the 2012 London Olympics. He first missed the test appears to have been early 2010, a month before he joined Alberto Slazer's Nikki Oregon project. Slazer is accused of doping Farah's training partner Galen Rapp in 2002, a claim which he has since denied. A report by UK's outlet The Mail says the second missed test came from Farah's in home of February 2011, when he claimed not to have had the doorbell. And with that, we wind up for today's edition of KTN Sports. My name is Moses Wahisi. Enjoy your night.
KTN Weather in association with Mortein Dew.
So the British government has lifted travel advisories against some key tourist destinations along the Kenyan coast. On the big question tonight, we were asking you, do you think the lifting of the travel advisories will help the Kenyan tourism sector improve? A lot of feedback on that.
Indeed, at Call Tasker says, good news, but lots of marketing and better products required to get those tourists back.
Fabian says on Twitter, somehow it will boost tourism, but the state of security must be improved all over the country.
But Linda Wino says, yes, it would help, but local tourism needs to be promoted. Kenyans should want to see Kenya.
Bethel Obiva says, no, Obama's visit to the country is the only boost to the tourism sector. The UK is just putting an act.
Mondiek Emmanuel says, yes, it will, though not 100%, as some parts of Kenya are still under red alert like Garissa.
Felix Oguya, yes, it's only normal and usual that when your fears are addressed, you gain confidence. It will improve. Many thanks for your tweets and SMSs.
Indeed, we hope the tourism sector will come back alive.
Yes, many thanks for joining us on KTN Prime all through this week from Monday. My name is Ben Kitildi. Good night.
I'm Linda. Go to sleep well. Remember, tomorrow you have Betty Callow with Friday Briefing.